the southernmost end of the Great Pequot Swamp Pond, about to enter it. It's been frozen for several days, so it should be safe. We're going to proceed north. This marvelous 30-acre site is part of a watershed that feeds the shoreline communities, and it's estimated that this, along with others, supplies as much as 200,000 gallons of Class A water a day. But this is the only time of year when you could safely come out into the swamp like this and walk on it. In the summer, you'd sink up to your waist or deeper. It is now frozen solid. It is the home to well over 100 species of amphibians, mammals, reptiles, birds, all kinds of natural life. Of course, you can't see it now because many of these creatures, particularly the amphibians, are probably under the ice here hibernating. And in the spring, this place will turn into a cacophony of chirping peepers. The noise is just tremendous. So it's full of life in the spring, just as things are turning green. Now looking west, we're looking down toward Westbrook, which is on the other side of that hill, and actually Ingham Hill Road goes over that way. Now there you can see the east side of Pequot Swamp Pond. Again, a very high bluff. You can go out there from the trail that goes up on the east side of Pequot Swamp and take a short route and go out on those rocks and look down. If you do it in the summer, you won't see much because of the leaves and so forth. But now it's very interesting to look at it with this perspective. Up at the far end, the north where we're looking now, is the end of the swamp, the 30-acre swamp. And as you can see, it sort of is nestled in between all these hills. And up in the corner off to the left, there is a dam, and I believe that was used to try and raise the water level here. The Pequot Swamp Pond feeds into two small rivers, the Patchogue, which goes into Westbrook and eventually into the Sound, and then the Oyster River, which comes out in Saybrook and goes into the Sound. We're looking south now. If you look carefully between the trees, you can see a house down there, a house, sort of a whitish yellow, and off to the left a barn. Absolutely quiet out here. You don't hear anything from Route 95 or Route 9. There's not a bit of sound. Occasionally a small light plane will go over and you'll hear a buzz from that. But that's about it. It's very fortunate that this piece of land is so quiet, and yet it is so close to civilization. The word Pequot means destroyer. There are several interpretations, but one of them is destroyer, because they were bad guys. They liked to make trouble, and they were sort of the 17th century terrorists, if you will. And they did not they did not leave the Mohegans or any of the other tribes alone. They had to always go in and stir up trouble. And they were banished up here. And then, of course, there was the famous battle in Mystic when Gardner and his men, and a military force went over to Mystic and massacred the tribe. After that, it never was the same. I think we're going to have some bright sunshine here very shortly. If I look up at the sky, to the west and to the north, you can see the blue sky. The clouds are moving to the south, and you can see the sun coming in on the Pequot Swamp and Pond. The sun lighting up the ledges on the east side of the pond, if you will. Very beautiful to watch that light develop like that. Not a sound in the air. No traffic, no airplanes, no people. It is absolutely pristine and quiet. And you can see our tracks going in and coming out. And off to our immediate right, of course, we have the dense forest. Probably unchanged for a very long period of time. There were farms in the area, but a lot of these trees probably go way back. We know that there was probably pretty good hunting here up until just a few years ago, because there was a gentleman in Saybrook by the name of Ted Mulligan. Ted Mulligan owned a duck decoy factory in Saybrook. The building is still standing on Route 1, and he was a great sportsman. He lived at the end of Ingham Hill Road, and he used to have hunting parties come up here. And as a matter of fact, I believe he was instrumental in building a dam up here at the north end to raise the water levels. These are snowshoe tracks, I believe, right here. And of course, those over here to the left are animals. It looks like dogs, some kind of a pawed creature. It doesn't look a sharp hoof like a deer, but I could be wrong. But these are clearly snowshoe tracks right here. They've been covered up by the light snow we had in the last storm. There you can hear a light plane going overhead. That's the only noise that's discernible. If we're looking south now, if you look carefully between the trees, you can see a house down there, a house, sort of a whitish yellow, and off to the left a barn. And it was in that area that Ted Mulligan lived. And he was a very, very interesting sportsman. I used to see him down on the water. He had a boat, a couple of big dogs, and he loved the water and go hunting and fishing. He was a great fisherman too. Also a great raconteur. He could talk all afternoon. Just give him a can of beer. We're now headed south. We're going back to the entrance where we came in. And there you can clearly see the house at the end of the road. We'll just let the camera roll as we work our way out of the Pequot Swamp here.